Right guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm down at Hayle Golf on the short game area. We're going to talk about how to hit that elusive flop shot. So the fill flop, the flop that everyone tries to hit in every single chip on the golf course. We're going to talk about when you need to use it, why, and the technique of actually how to use it. So first thing, and you'll see from the scenario here, the area that Hayle Golf has is these pods situated around the green with gravel around it. So obviously here there's lots of gravel, then a downslope, and then the pin that we're going to, the far one on the right hand side. I cannot chip and run this. I need lots of loft because I need to get it over all the slope. I then need to stop it very quickly because it's hitting onto a downslope to get this close. So I can't do anything other than kind of that flop or high lobby shot with lots of loft. The problem that I see again, we talk about scenarios when you need to use it, is people using this flop shot when you don't need to. So you only have to use it in situations like this where you have to get over something, where there's trouble and you have to go past it. You have to create a lot of spin, a lot of height. If there's nothing in the way, or there's a little bank, or you're hitting into an upslope, don't use it because it is a high risk shot. But hopefully we'll talk a little bit about technique in order to help you pull off this shot when you need it. So number one key thing is ball position way forward. So we want it almost where you'd put a driver, so just inside your left foot. Weight distribution, we want that weight massively forward. So again, if we talk about percentages of each foot, 80 to 85% on that lead foot versus the trail. So weight really far forward. Bit of a wider stance you'd use normally with chipping. Chipping normally would be quite a narrow stance. We're going to go much wider here because we're going to have a much longer swing arc. Open that face way up, open it wide, and then I want you to flatten that club. Okay, so what I mean by that, I'll go from here, is flattening would be this way. What we're trying to do is promote the bounce of the golf club, okay, so it gets it gliding underneath that ball. We don't want the leading edge doing any work. Again, the more upright we are, the more that leading edge is probably going to come in. So nice and flat, weight way forward, open that face up. What I also like to do, just to keep loft on the face, I like to weaken my right hand slightly. So weakening my right hand is going to make sure I get the right hand more on top of the grip as opposed to underneath. If I weaken that grip, it's more likely I'm going to be able to keep the loft on it, the added loft, throughout the whole swing and hopefully coming into impact. So lots of things to think about there. Ball position forward, weight way forward, nice weak grip, flatten that club, open the face. Another thing you've got to make sure of is obviously commitment there. So with a lot of loft, you've got to create a lot of speed. Less loft, things like driver are going to go further and flatter, more loft, higher and less. So you need to make sure you create enough speed, otherwise that ball's not going to go very far. A problem, again, I see with a lot of people trying this shot is that deceleration. So a nice long backswing, which is great, but then decelerating on the way through. A great feeling for players in order to stop that problem is actually making sure you feel like you accelerate more through the golf ball. So feel as if a shorter backswing and more of a follow through in order to stop that deceleration. That's a good feeling. It's unlikely you'll actually do that, but as a feeling it's going to be much better. So again, ball position way forward, weight way forward, weaker right hand, flatten that club and try and accelerate through that golf ball. Okay, so if you are struggling with the shot in terms of loft, obviously, like I said, that weak grip is hopefully going to help maintain the loft. You start with that setup. But something I get some of my players doing is trying to make sure that right hand flicks it almost. I don't like to say that term, but gets underneath it, rolls underneath that left hand. So a good feeling for that is go back to baseball grip, you know, kind of an inch, maybe 2 inches between both hands, and just do some practice swings trying to get that right hand wrapping underneath. Okay. What's important when you do that is we don't want a rotation of that right hand, so we don't want the back of the hand going over, because otherwise that is going to decrease loft. Flop shot, if we decrease loft, that's very bad. So we need to make sure that we are flicking that right hand underneath, maintaining that loft. It's quite delightful. Right, so as I said at the start, it's a high risk shot. So what I mean by that is, if you pull it off, fantastic. It's going to get close and you're going to feel great about yourself. But the bad one is really, really bad. So the bad one can be massively thin, so flying past that green, or massively fat. The problem is, because it's such a difficult shot, like I said, the risk is very high. So only play this shot if you have to. Again, this scenario, unfortunately, we have to play this shot. And that's the problem. I actually struck that quite well. I just didn't give it enough speed, or I had too much loft. Unless you practice this shot regularly, you don't really know how it's going to come off that club face. You don't know how much speed to put in, you don't know how much loft to play. I don't practice enough, unfortunately. I'm not 100% sure of this distance, how much loft I need to create, how much speed I need to produce through that golf ball to hit the desired distance that I want. So if you think of playing a shot on the golf course, you have to practice that technique as much as possible. If you don't, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to pull it off on the golf course and in that situation. So thanks very much for watching. Hopefully that's some tips that you can practice for that shot. Again, high risk shot, you need to practice it lots. Don't use it unless you have to. It does my head in, the amount of people I see do a playing lesson, and I'll go, right, what are you thinking here around the green? And go, oh, I'm just going to get my 60 out. You don't need it all the time. You only need it if you have to, if it's a difficult situation. Thanks very much for watching. Remember, lockdown is coming, I think. So make sure, if you want to keep practicing, keep learning, I offer online coaching via the Golf Coach app, and that link is in my description down there. If you download that app on your phone or tablet, iPad, whatever, it will ask you for a coaching code. That coaching code is Jamie Crocker Golf, all lowercase, no spaces, and you can start an online coaching package with myself. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.